The Victorian High Country, the destination on every four-wheel driver's bucket list. Huge mountain ranges, deep valleys and gorges, crystal clear creeks and some of the most picturesque campsites in Australia. It is no wonder this region attracts so many explorers and adventurers alike. This was my fourth time crossing the country to visit this unparalleled scenery, and it definitely won't be my last. This place has it all, and in this trip series I explore with a great group of friends, only scratching the surface of what's possible. In this trip series, I'm riding solo in my modified 200 series Land Cruiser, running newly fitted Dobinson suspension on Kenda 35-inch mud terrains. Not far behind me is my mate Aaron, the co-founder of Essential 4x4, wheeling his tough 200 series Land Cruiser. Next up is Abs, the co-founder of Essential 4x4, showing us how it's done in his twin-locked Toyota Hilux. Overshadowing all of us is Robbie and Maria in their monster of a 200 series Land Cruiser. Rounding up the Toyota club is Attila in his tough single-cab 79 series. Representing Team Nissan is Rob from Raised Products in his touring Y62 Nissan Patrol. And finally, rounding up the convoy is Ollie in the two-door Suzuki Jimny. This trip series proudly sponsored by Kenda Tyres Australia and Dobinson's Spring and Suspension Adelaide.
So here we are at Victorian High Country, and I'm with one of my good mates, Aaron. So those who don't know, Aaron is the co-owner of Essential 4x4, and the other owners over there, Abs as well. We've got a great crew with us today.
Awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. We've got about 9 days left to spend in the Victorian High Country. This is a bucket list destination, and I think the first for many of us visiting this time around.
Yep, absolutely. So nice and cold, -2 degrees for us this morning.
It was a fresh start, like a real fresh start. We've had a few issues with water freezing in some of the tanks. The awnings have been hard to fold up. Our hands are about falling off.
Hands are frozen, toes are frozen. Yes.
Errors on the gauges in the cars because it's so cold, but it is going to be absolutely awesome. A week or so out here. So right now we are camped near the Howqua Hills area. And we're only a couple of hundred metres off our first track this morning, which is going to be a 16-mile Jeep track. We're all a bit new to the area, so we're not exactly sure what to expect, but either way, we did a bit of a recce yesterday on some of the easier stuff, and the views in this area is just
phenomenal. Checked out Craig's Hut, which was mind-blowing, to be honest with you. The views, we had a breathtaking day like we do today as well, not a cloud in the sky. So very lucky.
Very lucky with the weather.
Yep.
So we're going to get these cars warmed up, we're going to get ourselves warmed up, and we're going to hit the track and see what we can find.
Looking forward to it.
Let's do it. Here we are, first track of the day, Victorian High Country. It is exciting to be back out here. We are on 16-mile Jeep track this morning, and very different from what I'm used to. It's saying it's -1 degrees. It is 9 o'clock in the morning, the sun is shining, and along with the car saying that, it sure feels like that as well. It is cold out here, but it doesn't matter. We are all distracted by the scenery, the ambience and the camping, and of course the tracks we're going to be driving today. None of us are from here, we're not really experts on the area, so we're sort of making it up as we go.
We continued to venture our way through the 16-mile Jeep track, discovering it really wasn't too difficult. However, it was littered with picturesque water crossings and the occasional timber hut alongside the rivers. It wasn't long before Aaron found a bog hole, and hoping for a challenge, he dived straight in.
Yep, now you can turn.
Nothing too difficult for the big 200. With Aaron through and the rest of us conserving our alternators, it was time to hit the tracks and aim for higher ground.
Well, 16-mile Jeep track done and dusted. We've just turned onto the Bluff track now, which is going to start taking us east towards Bluff Hut and of course Lovik's Hut, which are two of sort of the iconic huts in this part of the high country. And although we're not expecting anything too extreme, a bit like the 16-mile Jeep track, the views out here are just something else. It really is hard to beat that.
It wasn't long before we hit the iconic Bluff Hut, and a break here allowed us to read up a little on the history of the area and of course sign the visitor's book. Across the road from the hut is a small trail leading to a view that simply has to be seen to be believed. With our coffees finished, we headed back to the vehicles to continue to push on to our lunch spot for the day. This is Lovik's Hut. This is a very, very nice area for both a hut and also the structure itself has been maintained really, really, really well. If you know anything about the high country, then you know that the Lovik's name is a very well-known and well-respected name in the high country. There's a lot of history, both in this area and with the Lovik family as well. This particular hut was rebuilt back in, I think it was 2001, so hence why it's in such good condition and is used quite frequently. Just last year when we came here, it was used by a bunch of horse riders who had all their horses set up outside and they're all sleeping in here as well. So it's an awesome refuge from bad weather if you have any. But speaking of weather, we are certainly have been very fortunate with the weather that we've been getting. It is just perfect. It's about 12 degrees, but it doesn't feel that cold in the sun. A nice warm sun, not a cloud in the sky, and the tracks are empty. So we are certainly not complaining. Just had a bit of a bite of lunch to eat and getting ready to hit the tracks again. We're going to head up to King Billy track, I believe it is, and start making our way east. So start packing up and getting the vehicles ready. With the muddy track nearby our exit, you know we had to have a bit of fun. With that out of our system, it was time to keep climbing, to finish Bluff track and head towards the Kingbelly track.
This is Kingbelly track. We've been driving out here for a little while now, taking it very easy. It's not an overly technical track by any means, but it's just rocky and undulating, and there's no point in trying to race through when you've got a view like that out your window anyway. But we've got a little bit up here on the high points. We're about 1,700 meters above sea level up here, so we are quite high, at least in terms of Australian forward driving anyway. And it won't be too long before we intersect and start making our way down into the valley, which I'm looking forward to. It looks like quite a steep descent, and we'll follow the valley for a bit before making our way up the other side. But I'm probably going to say it a few times, you do not get tired of views like that, and we are so lucky to have the weather that we do today. One of my favourite places in Australia out here, it really is.
Pushed on and down into the valleys where the canopy shaded the tracks and the water crossings became more frequent.
Well, we've made it onto the Zika Spur track. We've turned off the Kingbelly track and we're now heading again, still eastwards, but not before a few switchbacks. Switchback after switchback around here, it really doesn't end. At the moment the views are on my left, before they were on my right. It really has not disappointed, but we're heading it back down again. We've had some serious elevation change throughout the tracks today, and this track will be no different. None of us have done this track before, so we really don't know what to expect, but I'm sure we won't be disappointed moving forward. It is getting a little bit later in the day. It's mid-afternoon now. Our progress hasn't been quite as fast as we initially thought it would, so we're not quite sure we're going to pull up to camp just yet, but it's not much of an issue. We haven't got a fixed itinerary. We don't have to be anywhere anytime. I'm sure we'll find something in the next hour or so, pull up, and it will be just right. But for now, just going to cruise along, continue to enjoy these views. Well, we haven't got far since I last jumped on camera. A bit of an issue. One of the 200 series have stopped about 5 minutes behind us on the track with a suspension issue. It looks like one of their bolts has completely unwound and it's gone. They can't find it, and it's causing some dramas in the front left to the point where they can't continue. So we just turned around. We're heading back to them now to go figure out exactly what's going on and see whether or not any of us are carrying any parts that can help, or if not, try and figure out some solution to get this thing back on the road. We're probably only about 20-25 minutes from Howqua Plains, which is a fairly decent road, but if that thing's not driving in a straight line, it's going to be a long and late night trying to get out of here. So no doubt we'll figure out some solution, but first up, let's get back to where they are. Yeah, there's not much room here, guys. I think we're just going to have to sit on the track.
rear bolt had come undone from this lower swivel hub connecting the lower control arm to the outer wheel hub. Without this bolt present, the right wheel would not steer in line with the left, making forward progress almost impossible. Not only were we having issues trying to realign the assembly, but we were struggling to find a replacement bolt. We had some of our crew walking up and down the track looking for the lost bolt, but without success. Hours had passed and we were no closer to getting the 200 off the side of this mountain.
Well, as you can probably tell, it's not the afternoon anymore. So the 200 series has some issues that has rendered it stationary for the foreseeable future. We have spent the last few hours now trying to come up with a solution to get this thing out of here. We're about 20 minutes down some serious switchbacks and rocky tracks to get out, and we just can't drive it like it is at the moment. It's about 6:30 in the evening. We can't stay there, obviously, inside the track, so we come up with a plan to get the rest of the crew up to a camp that's about 20-30 minutes away at the end of Zika Spur track, back the way we came, and then we'll take one of the bolts out of the 200 series when it's stationary at camp, bring it back down to the broken down one, put it back in and get that car up into camp. At least we can have all the cars together, we're not leaving a car inside the track, and then we can figure out what we're going to do from there. But look, no biggie, we're still in the Victorian High Country, we're still having a whole lot of fun, and yeah, you can't complain. It's all part of the adventure, I guess. But anyway, get this night drive done and set up camp. So a bit of an update, we're here at camp now. It's getting pretty late. We've just had some dinner by the fire. With this campsite here at Howqua's hut, it's not really big enough for a convoy of 7 vehicles, so we've kind of just split up a little bit. We've got 3 vehicles down here on this grassy flat site, and we've got the rest of the vehicles about 150 metres at next camp over. But overall, it's all as well. Not exactly the outcome we hoped for today. What we've ended up doing is leaving the broken down 200 series on the side of the hill that we left earlier. We've actually grabbed the bolt that's causing all these dramas from another 200 series, Aaron's vehicle. We've taken that out, and then we've taken that down to Rob in the broken down cruiser with the hope that we can put that back in and get that vehicle back mobile again, at least get it back to a base camp rather than being on the side of a hill. And then it's all about organising parts and how we're going to get out from here. But that's more of a problem for tomorrow. For now, we're all pretty knackered. We really haven't accomplished what we'd hoped for today. But either way, I think we're going to sit back, have a couple of beers, and probably call it a night. It's one of those situations, a bit of a hurry up and wait. But look, in the end, we're still in the Victorian High Country. We're still having a good time. We can't complain. It's not as cold as it was this morning, so that's always a positive. But yeah, let's enjoy the time we've got.
Coming up next time in the Victorian High Country.
Look at this. We've woken up this morning to a nice coating of white snow throughout camp, and it's just something that I'm definitely not used to going from WA. It's very unique.
The storm is coming, but I'm prepared. I'll be gone for a while, but don't be scared. Right now, I don't know if I'll ever arrive. Where the grass is green, we're still alive. I hope I'll see you on the other side.
Nice steep hill climbs coming up onto the ridgeline, and then just phenomenal views from up there as you drive along both the left and right hand side. Over the last few nights we've been moving every single night, and we're finding out that it's a little bit more difficult when we're in the below 0 degree temperature range. We'll finish off this Wombat Range track, which is not too long, I don't believe, and then we shouldn't be too far from camp. But What an awesome day.